All right, everyone, welcome back to RocketLab Weekly. This is our responsive RocketLab episode. We had less than 24 hours to prepare for this episode, and we did it. So, how is everybody doing? This is the past millionaires club. All of us were millionaires not so long ago, and now we're here to whine about the good old times.
Here we are.
How's everybody doing?
I mean, I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I apologize for my voice. But I had something that's so cool that I wanted to share with you guys. That I'm like, there's no way I'm missing this week's episode. So it was 4 weeks ago, I think, maybe 5. It was the episode that we had Jacob from Space Docs join us. We read a letter from someone in the audience, a viewer named James, and it was very heartfelt, very touching. And at the end of the message, he left us with a quote, and it bears repeating. Strength is born of compassion, wealth is born of generosity, confidence is born of humility. He reached out to me earlier this week, and he said, "Hey, do you remember that quote from the end of the letter?" I said, "Of course." And he said he received a text this week that quote is going to be put on a satellite that's going to be orbiting the moon for the next 50 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So my understanding, it's like a family friend is working for a certain company, doing an internship, and they're just like, yeah, if you want to etch something in, go for it. And he's like, I got just the thing. So I think that's very cool. Just kind of judging by, because in the letter, for those who might not have seen that episode, he mentioned, like, he's talking retirement and stuff. So I can imagine he's like, in the second half of his life for sure. And just to think that, like, just estimating his age, it's like it's going to be up there till his son is ready to pass. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm stuck for words. I just thought that was incredibly cool. So congratulations to James. That's what an honor.
That's very, very cool.
Super cool. That is super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, pretty cool week all in all. How about the rest of y'all?
All right, Miss Iglesias, how are you doing?
Good. Don't let the background fool you. This was a work conference thing, so
we know it's all from your cover calls.
It's not a flex. We're here for work, and I'm not drinking. This is water. So for those of you that see me drinking this during the live stream, this is water. But no, all in all, I mean, the week has been good in terms of adding shares, definitely. But obviously, I think I'm in the same boat as most of us over the last week and a half, where it's just been devastating. But you know what? It is what it is, and I think you have to be prepared for these large swings at some point in your life. So here it is, and it's been a great adding opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
All right, and Matt, you?
Yeah, I think it's well said, right? I obviously knew that some sort of pullback was coming with respect to RocketLab, but I think it's an opportunity to add personally, not just to RocketLab, but all positions that you think are going to continue to execute, and take opportunities like this to recognize what companies you actually want to hold in your portfolio, which ones maybe you bought during the good times that were hype, and you thought, you know what, this thing, is following the momentum, and look for the companies like RocketLab that, have launched 12 times, in the first half of the year, and potentially will launch up towards of 25 times this year in total. The people that are executing, that are actually driving things forward instead of just the hype, and I think sometimes we get too over involved in that. So this past week I added to a couple companies, RocketLab being one of them, and Palantir and many others that continue to continue to execute. So it's been a good week in that respect. And as always, I love to buy more shares. And then I got paid yesterday. Surprisingly, normally I wait until the end of the month, but I have my buy scheduled for Tuesday, whenever the 30th hits. As always, that tranche of my paycheck that automatically goes into buying more stocks every month, and or every paycheck rather, twice a month. So would hopefully hear that most of you guys are also doing something very similar.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually wanted to take this up because I see a lot of posts on Twitter about, you know, like how much your how much the portfolio is down, and you know, like, oh, I could have bought a house, I could have done this, I could have done that, and I think it's funny that, you know, when Rocket Lab went to 100 like 3 weeks ago or something, it feels like it would, let's say 4 weeks ago, I don't know the exact time, we were like, wow, we can't believe it's at 100, you know. And then it goes to, like, we all knew a pullback was coming, and you know, it went to 110, and we were like, okay, it's probably going to pull back to 100, you know. And then it just kept going and going and going, and it's so interesting that, like if you zoom out, like, we are still, even at 80 something, we are 300% up within a year's period, and the overall trend is up. You know, the execution is doing good. And yes, one of the downsides of having a bigger portfolio is your, you know, drawbacks are proportionally bigger, but I guess that's just part of the game. And we just have to get mentally toughen up to, you know, be able to take these, because yes, you know, you have this dream portfolio size, like, I want to go from 100,000 to 2 million. But yes, when you reach the 2 million and there's a 10% swing, it's going to be 200,000. Or if there's a 30% swing, which can happen easily on the stock market, on a flip of a dime, you know, there's a war breaking out or COVID or God knows what, that's 600,000 of your net worth. So it's, you know, with the big powers comes big responsibility. And it's just to, like, do you guys have any good tips for the folks that are maybe nervous about this or are affected, like how you deal with this? Because yeah, you guys are obviously very good investors.
I mean, as you were talking, one thing came to mind from earlier in the week where I'm heavily paraphrasing, obviously, but, like, you know, that it was in like a Discord chat, so it wasn't my conversation, but one gentleman was like, yeah, but I thought Rocket Lab would execute, and this and that's happening, and I was kind of like, no, like, Rocket Lab are still executing. Let's be very clear on that. Like, this is the company is not the stock, and the stock is not the company. So, I mean, for those who liked Rocket Lab at a 90, like, okay, I think it was three episodes ago or something, we kind of talked about Rocket Lab getting ahead of its skis. And sure, it's like, yeah, they do have a bit of execution to fulfill that valuation. But I mean, if you liked it at a $90 billion valuation, there's that much less execution required to fulfill that $50 billion. So this is by no means saying that Rocket Lab's cheap or whatever. This isn't a stock recommendation. I'm just saying, if you liked it a few weeks ago, Rocket Lab's only gotten stronger, and the share price has only gotten weaker by comparison. So that's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, I saw that quote, the one you just mentioned recently. I think it was Jeff Bezos. He was talking about Amazon and how at one point it went from like 117 to $6. And he said just that. He said, you know, you have to remember that the company is not the stock, and the stock is not the company. He said for everything else, all the metrics, you know, they were executing, everything was trending up in the right direction, but the stock price was awful. And I think that's the only words of wisdom that I could share is, you know, during the tough times, remember why you're invested to begin with, and take a good look at the company. Has there been any changes? You know, as Scott said, if you like this company cheaper, you know, or more expensive at one point, why wouldn't you like it now? If anything, I feel like it's 10 times more de-risked than when I started investing in it, you know, when it was in the $3 and the $4 range anyway. So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like Francisco, down substantially, and that's fine. I mean, I even made a video at, I don't know, when the stock price was 140 or 150, said I would gladly take it down over 7 figures, and I'm probably close down in my whole portfolio to $2.5 million, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm buying these companies for what I believe they'll be in 10 years' time. I mean, I've been a RocketLab holder now since the D-SPAC with VACQ. Luckily, I was able to buy more in 2022, through 2024 when it really took a drip, or dipped down to below $10. And with that, I originally was always investing for 2030 and beyond. I was never investing for neutron and cell, right? And I always had that thought that it would be worth 40, $50 billion, but we've moved on from that. They've come out with the ideas about Flatellite. They've gotten more in depth with what their future looks like, which is being able to potentially provide defense opportunities to Europe, to our allies in Australia and potentially Korea and elsewhere, coupling that with the ability to subcontract out for SpaceX as well. That just got announced. And so it's like, I see people kind of turning on the company because the stock is taking quite a bit of a tumble. One of the best investment moves that I've made probably over the last 24 to 36 months, I forget when it was. I think it was actually the first quarter of 2025 in like April or May when the first quarter results came out. The stock dripped from like $35 to like 18 or something. I remember everyone was running around with their heads chopped off, and it was the greatest opportunity that you could have done. And I took advantage of something like that. Actually, I will probably pull that out when I have some time to show people that if you truly believe in a company like this, and maybe it has gotten ahead of its skis, I'm not saying it hasn't, but if you truly take some opportunity to think about what the long-term value of a company like this could really be. And I think so many people were like talking about, oh, but Lockheed's worth over 100 billion, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, could Lockheed get a launch done in less than 24 hours? Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is where people are getting lost. That's where I think people are like, oh, but Lockheed, they do so much. They're so embedded into the economy. RocketLab will be that company eventually as well. And if you're sitting there not recognizing that, then, and not only that, for specifically for defense and being able to have that as an opportunity to keep just the US, Europe, etc. safe, you're forgetting the whole aspect of the Space Development Agency building a constellation layer for that, and then also their own constellation layer that we have yet to hear more about. And so I just think that there's so many catalysts to come up within the next 24 to 36 months. It's just, I'm super excited. So I bought more.
Nice. And it's just for the newer people, like, weren't we saying the same thing when the stock went to 30, that it's like a little bit ahead of its skis? We don't really, like, we were scratching our heads, like, how to make sense of this valuation. And so it always feels high. It's just like an interesting case study for the people who are, thinking about buying now. That, yeah, like what Matt said, it's like when it was at 35, we felt like this is like an unreal price. And then when it went down to 18, it was like, it still feels high because, it was just at 4. And as Matt said, it was one of the best decisions he made to add at those prices. Cool. So now I know it's on a lot of people's minds. So the next question is, and then we go into the news. What do you guys think caused this massive sell-off? Because we basically went straight down almost 50% at this point from the absolute highs, like intraday highs. And I saw a leading theory that kind of makes sense to me, that the SpaceX employees who are in a lockup, they couldn't like write cover calls. They couldn't do options on SpaceX to hedge their portfolios. And then the only way they could hedge their portfolio was to short the space sector. And that would basically, I was thinking, like, why is that good? And the reason why that would be good for you is because you just want to lock in the valuation of SpaceX. So if the space sector goes up, you lose money on your shorts, but you gain money on your SpaceX. If it drops, then you lose money on your SpaceX holding, but you're making money on your shorts. But basically what it would do is it would just lock in your portfolio, like I had my gains. And I don't think there's a way to ever verify if that is what is happening, but I've just, I don't know, the fall doesn't really make sense to me from a company execution viewpoint or a stock market viewpoint. What do you guys think?
I mean, to kind of pair with what Matt and Mrs. Iglesias said a moment ago, like when Amazon crashed from north of 100 to $6, a lot of that was everything around it crashing. And you know, if you're in that narrative that like the space companies or AI companies or the combination of the both are in a bubble, and that bubble is popping or has popped or whatever, right? Like the kind of SpaceX effect, everybody rushing in, now everybody's kind of rushing back out. Some of those like all the companies are being taken down alongside SpaceX. I think everyone is just so hot and heavy for SpaceX, and now that it's here, everyone's rushing to get away from it. But then to kind of pair what Adam Spice mentioned during our interview, it's like there's going to be like the haves and the have-nots, so to speak. So, you know, certain space companies coming like retracing 40% makes a lot more sense than others retracing 40%. And maybe Rocket Lab's in that group, but maybe not.
Yeah, I like the hedge theory, the one you mentioned, Vince. I've seen that floating around a couple of times. I like it. I mean, it does make sense. Like you said, there's no way to ever verify that. But I think, SpaceX came in and literally sucked all the oxygen out of the room. And now when the FOMO kicked in, it hit, I think like 220 something, and now it's in the 150s, right? So I really think we do have a lot of new investors in the space sector who jumped in from the SpaceX excitement. And unfortunately, just like any other IPO, you also have a lot of bag holders that are left once the stock pops up and then it comes back down to reality. So maybe a lot of disillusionment, a lot of people leaving the sector thinking, oh, this isn't really going to be a moneymaker for me. I think it's multifactorial. I think I think we have no choice but to sit through it. But the one silver lining I can say, this whole time we've been thinking, oh, 150, we're here because of the SpaceX IPO. They brought us here. We're here because of that. I can confidently say I think we've given back everything related to the SpaceX IPO at this time, and we owe it nothing. So from here on up, I think it's going to be just our own execution.
Mr. Matt?
Sorry, looks like my camera froze here. Let me restart that. The thought that I kind of had is a lot of this money was institutional money. I mean, if you think about it, I don't really foresee a lot of retail investors piling in to the extent of, let's say, $50-ish billion that would drive the stock price up. And so I think what you have now is you have a lot of institutions that own the stock. And with that, the weighting likely got a little bit out of hand as it went all the way to 140, 150. I think you had a lot of institutions with SpaceX coming out that a lot of these, I mean, there was already a lot of space related ETFs that were coming out, but with SpaceX coming out and Rocket Lab also potentially entering the NASDAQ 100, a lot of other things, there's probably a lot of institutional front running associated with a lot of these things. And so I think with that, now that hype is probably over and you have this opportunity to kind of regulate how much space concentration you actually want, you don't necessarily have the buyer base to backfill. And so I think what Ms. Iglesias kind of talked about was kind of very prudent and important there is you had all these people because of the SpaceX IPO flush in, and now we're at where people were, at the $80, $85 range, which we would have celebrated 6 months ago. And here we are, right? So you've got that institutional money. You have the institutions that have as much as they want. I think this is a positive thing because you think about it, yes, you're always going to revert back to the mean in some way, shape, or form. But now it's like 75, 85 is almost like I don't want to say a floor price. I could see it going back below $70, but it feels more comfortable here. Whereas before it felt like a ceiling. And so to me, I think this allows us to kind of formulate a new shareholder base, people starting to look and be like, oh crap, if it can go all the way back to 150, why am I not owning it at 80, 85? And as you start to get some of these catalysts going forward, people really start to understand what the true long-term potential is going to be. I think one of the biggest detriments at the moment of the company, and it's not because they're not executing, I think they're doing as well as they can be. So this isn't a hit on the company. But I think the publicity around Neutron, I think, is unfortunately the biggest drag on the stock at the moment, because everyone just keeps thinking that Neutron is the be-all end-all. And in reality, it's the beginning. And so I think people keep seeing this delay and they're like, it's a dog shit company. They're only a launch company, everything. It's like, I feel like RocketLab's not doing a bad job of communicating that they have so many other subcontracts out there. So I don't think it's a hit on RocketLab. I think it's a hit on the fact that retail and many others that are looking superficially don't fully digest and really understand that this is going to be a massive percentage owner of the total addressable market. And that's what I'm waiting for.
Agreed. Cool. One of us got a super chat. I don't know who it was. So just think we should answer it. So Mason Mars 26 is saying, was introduced a few weeks ago to quantum space back under IPFX, backed by Axiom Space founder with CFO Jim Burdenstein, building a satellite capability to be the FA-18 of orbital defense. Any thoughts?
No, this was recommended to me to look into earlier, and I just haven't had a chance to. Maybe I should.
Yeah, I also have never heard of this.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, not familiar with it either. But thank you for the $10 super chat. All that money that I get from YouTube always goes back into the portfolio. So.
All right. Cool. So let's start the news, of which there is a lot. So about 1 day ago, we have had the 12th Electron launch of 2026, which was the 91st Electron mission overall. That was the 10 Owl of 10 mission. And I think then there's this guy who said something about the launch. Not only is this Rocket Lab's 12th launch.
Vince, we might need a screen from you.
Am I not sharing? Oh,
no.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Tech support. Yeah. Okay, so there's this guy here.
This
so
guy.
Not only is this Rocket Lab's 12th launch of the year, 91st launch overall, but the 50th consecutive successful launch in a row. And here is some statistic on that. So what do we think about the launch department, launch services? The quarter is ending in like 3-4 days. There is a slight chance for one more launch. They did post that we're going to do back-to-back launches, and they have done 2 of those, or was it 3 now?
Yeah,
2.
Victus Hayes and 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Wasn't there another haste in there somewhere that I don't think we ever got confirmation on?
That was Curveball on the 11th of June. So I think that back-to-back post was past that, if memory serves. Actually, it must have been, because that would have been their. Or yeah. I'm pretty sure that did not include. So we've got a couple more, and yeah, Vince, if you don't mind me jumping in, that's we have 6 1/4 so far. 12, so it's 12. Sorry, yeah, no, that's right. 6 1/4 so far. 12 in the year so far. I'm quite confident we're going to still see one more in Q2. I think the window opens up tomorrow, and it's still listed as net June. I checked earlier this morning on Rocket Lab's website, so that's still looking good. So that's not only going to be a new record for the quarter, hitting 7 1/4, but that'll also be first half of the year record of 13. So this past week we had the 10th with Synspective, which we have another 17 signed through 2029, and then I think assuming if this next one goes off in the next few days, that's going to be number 8 with IQPS, and they have another 7 signed with Rocket Lab through 2027. So yeah, still plenty busy, and then looking ahead, we have Locksat. I think the last time we were on, there was a bit of obfuscation regarding the dates, because on one website was saying this date, one was saying another. So the other date came and passed. So the next one up, unless there is one between IQPS and Locksat, is going to be on July 17th already. So Rocket Lab aren't playing around when they say that they're going to be hitting back-to-back launches.
Nice. Do you guys, Miss Iglesias or Matt, have anything to say about this?
No, just excited that they're maintaining a 24 launch cadence, and hopefully we see the next leg up.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Looking forward to launch 100.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's getting close. It's getting
and
close.
worth mentioning. I'm sure we'll get to the new signing in a moment here, but when I was entering this new batch of launches that we'll talk about in a moment, I just did a quick count of how many we have still listed vaguely as 2026 and how many are lined up for 2027. Of course, subject to change, but we still have 27 within 2026. Of course, those are going to be shifting to the right into 2027, which has another 24 outlined. So we have 50 right there through till the end of 2027. And again, those are going to bump over to the right, but also more going to be added, as is Rocket Lab tradition. We signed 28 Electrons in Q1, was it? So it's, to echo what you were saying, Maddie, Neutron's coming, but Electron's here, and it's not slowing down.
Somebody pointed out in the chat that they thought today was Rocket Lab's 20th birthday, and it's actually on June 29th. But yeah, we're pretty close to it. I guess this is going to be the closest Rocket Lab Weekly to Rocket Lab's birthday. So happy birthday, Rocket Lab. Thanks for pointing it out.
Cool. Yeah, happy birthday, Rocket Lab. I was completely unaware. Okay, and speaking about the Electron mission, so I found this tweet that I thought was very, very interesting. So at least 9 SpaceX partners and customers told Space News that SpaceX is not accepting transporter reservations beyond late 2028 or early 2029, and the manifest for the next couple of years is nearly full. So that is SpaceX's rideshare mission. That was sort of a competitor for Electron, although it wasn't fully a competitor, because Electron gives you like VIP service. You go to the orbit you want when you want. But it basically still means that a lot of small satellites will not have a way to get to space. And Electron is there. I think this will be a very nice boost for Electron demand. I don't know. Have you guys seen this, and what do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, it's launch is a bottleneck, and it's going to continue to be for the foreseeable future. And worth mentioning too, it's like there are a lot of launch providers who are supposed to be to the market, and I don't want to just, I'll be fairly critical of Rocket Lab, like including the Neutron. There's a lot of launchers that are, or a lot of rockets that are supposed to have been on the market by now who have constellations lined up, but maybe unlike the Neutron, some of those are getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And those manifests are going to need to be moved around. And I mean, if it's not SpaceX, I don't know. It's just, yeah, there's no shortage.
We know what it is. We know what it is. If it's not SpaceX, we know what it is. There's only one company that can jump in and reliably launch something within a 24-hour phone call. That's That's actually the next one that I wanted to speak about. Mm-hmm. So Rocket Lab shatters responsive space record, launches U.S. Space Force Victus Haze in 16 hours and 42 minutes. And I actually looked at, I checked which other company is able to launch responsibly. And I thought it was SpaceX. I don't know why, but it's actually Firefly Space. The Victus Nox mission that was they launched within 27 hours, and as far as I understand, what's unique with Rocket Lab is obviously one, they shattered the 24-hour window, that also they had a satellite that they designed and commissioned themselves, and the commissioning was a 72-hour deadline after launch, and Rocket Lab did it in 37 hours and 36 minutes. And again, just to catch up for everyone, like this Victus Haze mission, what they're testing is if there is an enemy satellite or a suspicious satellite that the US Space Force wants to check out, then basically need to shoot up another satellite that goes near it and does a rendezvous and proximity operation, it's called. And that's the capability that basically the military was testing to track another satellite. And the other satellite, if I'm not mistaken, was designed by True Anomaly, was supposed to be flown by Firefly, but then it got remanifested to SpaceX. And then Rocket Lab successfully caught up to it and was able to do this military maneuver. So
I'm so excited about this mission. I feel this is the most exciting mission yet. I think Capstone for me obviously is right at the top of the list, but this one is very excited just because of the premise of having to chase down another, satellite and take pictures with it and do whatever it needs to do. I'm still looking forward to the updates. I know we haven't heard anything from Rocket Lab. I think the CEO of True Anomaly has been posting like some videos about their spacecraft and what it does, the Jackal, all of that very exciting. And he has very few followers, so if you guys see him on there, I think his name is it Evan? But yeah, a lot of good content. But I'm super excited about this mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it adds a new lens of opportunity for Rocket Lab, and as we know, defense. I think the coolest thing is that this was launched out of New Zealand as well, and so that kind of provides an optionality to kind of have U.S. focused missions kind of outside of the United States as well. So curious to see as we continue to partner with New Zealand and the UK and many others with respect to defense and making sure that safety from above continues to be paramount. I think that this is going to be a growing piece of testing, and to put it into everyone's minds again. I think one of the previous test vehicles for this was kind of the Minotaur, and the Minotaur was very intermittent vehicle, and it was like $40-50 million per launch, and not nearly having the responsiveness. This obviously does have way more.
Was that suborbital?
I think the Minotaur was
orbital. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Orbital as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But even still, I think that sort of responsiveness is key, and I think we're in a new realm where, especially in today's age, where you continue to need responsiveness, and people unfortunately still have to worry about nuclear war and things like that, and just satellites from above, and having that defense capability is huge. And I think if you think about it from that perspective, $40 billion is pretty cheap when it comes to national security of not just the United States, but all of our allies in Canada, Mexico, and across the globe.
Mm-hmm. And one thing maybe worth highlighting too, and I'll be tactile as I say this so as to not beg too hard on the competitors, but this was originally scheduled to take off. So for those unfamiliar, the launch profile is that one small rocket delivers the satellite, and then Electron basically they send their own satellite to chase that first satellite. So Electron's satellite, the one that was built by Rocket Lab, is basically trying to find that first satellite, but that first satellite doesn't want to be found, or they're kind of trying to find each other like cat and mouse think. So not only is it a testament of Electron needing to launch to like not even the second, I believe it's like within like a 10th of a millisecond or something crazy. in order to be on the right trajectory to catch that satellite. But the original launch provider wasn't even able to deliver that first one that could have just been launched any time of the day. So it's not only are Rocket Lab able to pull through with Electron, but launch it with that kind of accuracy. And granted, the mission's not done yet, but I'm sure they're not far off the mark. Rocket Lab have built a reputation for being within meters of their desired launch trajectory. So it's yeah, just this could just be Electron Weekly at this point, but like it's the workhorse that can and does. So well done to Rocket Lab.
And they're handling everything, right? They did the launch, they did the satellite, they're doing the software, they're doing the mission control. So this is like, I think the first mission where I've seen that it is like an end-to-end mission where everything on our end is being provided by Rocket Lab. And that's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard for me to put like a TAM on this or like a monetary value, but I actually very recently by accident ran into a YouTube video that was explaining that a few years ago the European GPS satellites on a circle all had like a less than a second outage. And then some scientists like started tracking like how can they all have an outage at the same time, and then they started like having theories like, was it the sun doing it, was it the like what could possibly do it, and then it became like a years long research, and then it like happened again, and then happened again, and then after years of research it came down to that it was like a Russian satellite that was supposed to be like a friendly, like it wasn't a military satellite, it was some other satellite, and most probably it was like testing capabilities, like how to turn off the full GPS system, and it was like sending these plings, and it was working. So like and then the end of the documentary was like how important it is that we have like resilience in space. We can, because they said that if the GPS satellites over Europe would go down, it would be like a catastrophe within like just a few hours. Like the economy would like stop working, like ships would get lost in the sea, and it would like during wartime it would have like untold consequences, And to take down such a satellite, that's where you would need like a Victus Haze, like to go marry up and give it a friendly EMP or something, to make it, yeah. So it's I don't know how to put a TAM on it, but it feels like as Matt says that it's like 40 billion for that kind of national security. It's worth it. Cool. All right, we move on to the next one, which is again Electron Weekly. So am I showing my screen? Yeah, I am. So we have gotten 2 new contracts from NASA for 3 launches, or it's 3 launches on 2 different missions, which is very cool. I love science missions. They are for 2027, and I love new Electron contracts, but I don't know what else to say about this one. You guys have any comments on this one?
I think during our interview, Peter Beck, I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't have too much to add besides I'm sure that like similar to last quarter, these aren't the only 3 that have been signed within the quarter. That's all.
Yeah, no, I was going to comment that I think when we interviewed Sir Peter Beck and Adam Spice, one of the things that they mentioned why they go so hard against, the MTM and MTO, because it's always good to have a meatball mission in the shop, right? Because it's good for recruiting, it's good for company culture and morale. So bringing in a couple more NASA missions is definitely going to be good.
Can someone explain something to me? Like Swedes have a national food that is like the Swedish meatballs, and they look nothing like the NASA logo. Like, why the heck is the NASA logo called the meatball logo? It's blue.
I don't know. No idea.
The only meatball that I know that can get blue is for different. Anyways, we don't. Okay. Yeah, then it's not just me. Yeah, okay. Cool. So then we go on to, so now we're leaving Electron. So now we're going into other areas of Rocket Lab where they are executing. And this one is very interesting. And it's actually earnings soon. Can you guys believe it? And hopefully maybe we get an update on this. But there is a Rocket Lab Flatellite job listing that is basically saying that you will be in charge of producing hundreds of these satellites. Which is not a bad run rate. And for that run rate, you either need your own constellation or somebody else's constellation, but it's pretty quiet from investor relations. So yeah, what do you guys think this means? Where are we at with this Flatellite?
I would imagine further along than the Rocket Lab team are giving us a nod to. I'm thinking this is like a sooner than later sort of a deal. Not like, I'm not talking like, later this year type of a thing, but like, I mean, when it was announced, I think it was us that asked, but we're like, is this for you guys or is it for who? And it was customers pluralized. So it's and who knows who that could be. I mean, it fits the profile of a Aquatis pretty accurately, but time will tell.
Yeah, for me, I think. Sorry, go ahead, Vince.
No, I just would the Aquatis run rate would that match up with because that's 2,800 satellites, right? But I don't know over what period.
I'd imagine 5 years, probably, maybe over a 10-year period, but probably 5.
So that would be like 5 to 600 per year. I mean, that's hundreds.
Yeah, probably more like a couple hundred per year, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So I don't know, something
I
like
thought
that.
they had said Equitas was supposed to be complete, or the plan was to have it up and running by 2028. That's too soon, though, right?
Maybe, I don't know. And Peter has mentioned that the Flattellites would fit best on Neutron. They can be launched elsewhere as well, but I don't know. There's a couple not just like contradicting quotes, but either way, I think that we'll know probably within the next year, maybe 2, whatever Flatellite is going to become.
Yeah, these Equitas said they were targeting a commercial service date around 2028, 2029. So that's pretty fast.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, my thought process has been, I thought we would hear more about Flatellite in 2026, but that was with a timeline of hopefully getting Neutron launched sometime in first half of 26. So I feel like you'll likely hear more about Flatellite after we have Neutron up and tested for the first time. Because I think right now, the last thing I think the team, which they already do, but the last thing I think the team really wants to be distracted by is, okay, Neutron's done, that vehicle's ready, like when and how's this constellation going to pay? So right now, I think if they just keep it general, it cannot be the distraction that they want. But like once it actually becomes the next thing and they actually have Neutron under their belt, they can give a little bit more quantitative descriptions as to what they really truly plan to do with their own constellation. And also I think it's going to be just a learning curve as well, like what other type of things will they be using to actually generate revenue off of a Flatellite. I think will be interesting, but yeah, I think there's more to come on it. They made a pretty big deal about it, so it'd be hard for me to think that it's just going to go off into the ether and not be substantial.
And just kind of as you guys were talking too, another nod in the direction of sooner than later is those new thrusters that they've announced, where they've mentioned like what's the production rate, like the line's already set up for 2,000 per year. I think there's 2 per craft. So, and they've mentioned that the majority of those are intended to be in-house. So, I mean, the line's already set up, you're already producing them, and you already need them all for yourself. They need to go somewhere.
Okay, so I think we all agree something is definitely brewing somewhere. Yeah, because I don't believe RocketLab would start production without having a customer. They're just not that type of company.
Sorry, Jacob's correcting me. It's 200 per year is set up. But I think Peter made a comment in, I think, in the Madison episode that they could scale to 2,000, no problem, if memory serves. 2,000 is there somewhere. Maybe it's the reaction wheels. I don't know.
Is it one per satellite, like one thruster, or is it like the...
Jacob, you can answer that too, please.
He's like the AI bot that is like, we can ask anything during
time for him to come on again, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, come on the next episode, Jacob. You're invited.
No pressure.
No pressure. Cool. Then while we're waiting for the answer, I can go to the next one. And that is actually a recent interview with Adam Spice, where they talk about the Golden Dome program and how much money is allocated to it and how much it can be. And I just want to play it. Let's see if there's sound.
It's very interesting. An early win in Golden Dome as well.
Is there sound?
Yeah. Yes, we announced a partnership there with Raytheon into the SBI program, which is an early. I mean, there's a relatively long list of competitors there. I think there's like roughly a dozen primes that were selected, and then those primes have their subs. That's gonna, the expectation would be that winnows down as you go, as some don't get through the gates. But all of this leads towards, ultimately, if you can get through all the kind of technical execution gates, and ultimately the program is funded by Congress, we're seeing some, we can't really talk about the confidential nature of the program in a lot of respects, but there are a lot of reports out there trying to size the opportunity, which, is pretty large if it actually goes through the way that it's been currently rumored to be.
But what about SBI? How you're participating there at this point? Space Interceptor.
If the program was to go into production, which would require, the whole congressional budget approval to get through, which has all the political risk dynamics associated with it, then there's potentially a very big prize at the end of that. So we're partnering with Raytheon on that program. We, each company brings its unique strengths and capabilities. We think we're well positioned. We are fortunate we have got so much of what we need to deliver for that program already kind of in-house. And so the incremental cost for us to go support these kind of things is relatively low. So for us, we've got, I kind of view it as a nice option on a big opportunity that doesn't require a huge amount of kind of P&L burden at this point. So I think, but as if the program continues, then I think that those R&D investments are going to kind of increase, and that'll take a little bit more, I think, scrubbing and scrutiny. But I think, we're excited about the opportunity. We think we've got the best partner you could partner with there in Raytheon. So we think it could be a really big kind of needle moving program for the company over the next several years if it comes through.
So he can't talk about the size of the opportunity, and it's confidential, but it would be a very big needle moving program in the next few years. And do with that what you will. So to be a very big needle mover program, like, it needs to be in the many billions at this point for RocketLab. So what do you guys think?
I don't know. It sounds like Aquatis to me. Like, the more I consider that rumor, it's I don't know. It's lining up almost too nicely.
Which one?
Aquatis. Yeah.
But this is like, here he was talking about the Golden Dome, right?
I think you're talking about the Golden Dome in particular. Yeah. I don't know. I keep hearing that term. I think that's the second time I've heard him use that term, needle moving, and that's very exciting to me. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think these things that we're hearing, right, just emphasize the fact that I think too many people put emphasis on Neutron, and there's things beyond Neutron that I think people need to be thinking about. And Neutron alone, in my opinion, is a $40-50 billion program. And so if you think about the capacity to be able to deliver something like a Neutron, you could give companies $40-50 billion. They might not be able to deliver a Neutron, right? I think that is the thought and the moat that I view. And so now that you have, we got Dave in here. Well, slacking over it. No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you, Dave. But yeah, so I think thinking beyond, providing that ability for other things just goes to show you how much future potential RocketLab still has yet to truly convince or convey to the market. And I think that's maybe why it jumped all the way up to 150. And we'll see where it ends up in the coming years as people really start to digest and understand it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's actually a good point, Matt, that like now that we are going through this, like there's so much more catalyst than just Neutron flying or not flying. Like the other parts of the company is really, really exciting as well, that a lot of people are missing out on. Hello, Dave. Welcome to the chat.
If you guys haven't seen Dave's interview with the Firefly CEO, it was phenomenal. I watched it the other day when I was at the gym. Dave continues to be a spotlight in the community, and really cool to see somebody get that opportunity to interview him.
Yeah, I thought it was very cool too. And is there going to be like a walkthrough of the facilities, or was that like he got a private showing and then he just did the interview?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I thought he said he was going to have a tour, but I don't know if he got to video the tour or not. I know he said there was lots of, clearance and stuff involved with it. So.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, he definitely shed a better light on the CEO than other interviews. So he was like asking very good questions, or I don't know. They have it was a very good interview.
He didn't try his casual lean.
Yeah,
that came across terribly.
Dave took his chair in this one.
Yeah. No, it was really good.
Yes,
and the CEO said that he said that he was a fan of Dave even before. How did he like it? It sounded like he follows his channel like since very long. I can't remember the exact wording he used now, but yeah.
Yeah, very good angles, very good lighting. I thought it was really professionally done. And really good questions, I think, from Dave. I don't know about the responses, but the questions are very good.
Yeah, there weren't softballs. There were some good ones in there.
Oh, Dave said there's a walkthrough video, but a lot of it is not ITAR allowed. Oh yeah. All right. Well, at least you got to see it firsthand. You can jump in next time and tell us.
I think he even got to see a hot fire, if I understand correct, which is really cool.
Yeah. Damn. we only got to see a water dilute system firing, which was pretty crazy.
That was pretty crazy.
It's the opposite of a hot fire.
Exciting though, super exciting.
Super exciting. Okay, cool. We go to the next one. This one was very surprising to me. Relativity philanthropic MTO mission. So it looks like Relativity Space is considering developing or being part of a philanthropic mission Mars, which would also be a communication orbiter around Mars. Yeah, for me it's kind of out of like I understand the strategy. It's okay. When you read the article, it's not 100% clear. Like it sounds like there is a group, a philanthropic group, who will use Relativity to make this happen. So I'm not sure that Relativity is getting paid or not getting paid or how philanthropic they are, but the mission is philanthropic. Do you guys think that this endangers Rocket Lab's MTO in any way, or?
I think I'll believe it when I see it. I think Relativity likes to hype a lot They like to talk a lot. And I saw this whole thing. I mean, the guy who's funding it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not getting my stories mixed up, I think Tran pointed out that he was the same guy that funded or is going to fund our part of our instrument on the Venus mission that Sir Peter Beck keeps talking about. So I think it was a good promo opportunity. It was a good, press conference to talk about, oh, this is what we would like to do. This is what we're planning to do. But I don't know. I think until I'll believe it when I see it. I think I still believe Rocket Lab is a company best positioned to do anything like that. But I don't think we're moving in the direction of doing that for free. I think the company very much deserves the MTN at this point, based on everything that we know, anyways. So I'm still waiting on that. I think philanthropy for us with the Venus mission will be exciting in terms of trying to locate life beyond our planet. So we'll let relativity say whatever they need to say, and see if they can actually execute on this.
Well said.
Well said. All right. Then we go on to the last news or last thing to mention this week. This was a post by someone who looks familiar, but I don't know from where I know her. It says, are we observing a quiet period between Viasat and Rocket Lab? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I continue to see an interesting pattern forming around Rocket Lab and Viasat, adding to the layered continuous relationship between the two companies. Viasat just won a U.S. Space Force PTSG Swarm 1 contract with Rocket Lab named as a boss supplier, according to Space News. No press release from Rocket Lab. The press release from Viasat did not mention Rocket Lab. A small startup, K2 Space, publicly confirmed and claimed that their PTSG bus provider role for the SES, who was also awarded. The relationship between Viasat and Rocket Lab runs deep. 2022, Rocket Lab builds L-band radio for Inmarsat. 2023, Viasat acquires Inmarsat. 2024, Viasat picks Rocket Lab for NASA CSP bus. June 2026, Rocket Lab selected as Viasat's Space Force GEO bus provider. Meanwhile, Viasat plus Space 42 United Arab Emirates are building Equitas, a 2,800 satellite D2D constellation, and are looking for joint venture partners, or in the very least, a bus component provider for the constellation. Accompanying quiet period negotiations does not put out press releases involving the company they are setting up business with. No press release from Rocket Lab. Viasat's press release did not mention Rocket Lab. Just speculating, but the dots are connecting. Let me know if I missed something or what you think. So, conspiracy hour or conspiracy section. What do you guys think? How is this deal with Equitas looking?
I think that Mrs. Iglesias is like hit the nail on the head. It is a little bit unusual. The like everyone's kind of throwing each other's name around except for two specific items. And yeah, tinfoil hat all the way on, as always. I'm willing to bet that so that is not misconstrued when, if Rocket Lab were to be like, yeah, we've got, this partnership with Viasat. And then, folks like us will be like, well, folks like the general, maybe not like us at all, actually, like some people might be like, oh yeah, the Viasat Rocket Lab thing, it ended up just being two buses, not a big deal, right? They don't want that kind of obfuscation in the news, right? So they're going to just wait until that whole the big press release, so that people aren't getting their wires crossed, and then they'll just tuck it in and be like, yes, and previously we've we have the relationship we mentioned on the show before. This is not the first go around with Rocket Lab and Viasat, so I think it's very intentional. I couldn't agree more here with Mrs. Iglesias.
Yeah, I love
Mr. Matt?
conspiracy theories, right? No, I think I don't know. I think the dots are connecting. Sure, like Scott said, you're spot on with that. It could be nothing. But I did find it pretty strange that neither of them are mentioning each other. Rocket Lab's not saying anything at all. And they usually say something every time they get something, whether it's small or big. They usually put something out to talk about it. But Viasat, they released a press release. They didn't mention who their partner is, but this other tiny startup company, K2, they came out and talked about what they got with their partner. So, everybody that's in the deal is kind of talking about it, except the two others that may or may not be working in partnership. So I don't know. I think all the dots are connecting so far. Like I said, it could be something, could be nothing, but it's definitely something to be keeping an eye on.
Sir Matt?
Nothing. Not smart enough to put the 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
What I can say likely though is knowing just how much RocketLab puts into space in terms of components, RocketLab will likely be a beneficiary regardless of whether or not they're in a major partnership or not. There will be pieces of the satellites that are likely going to be coming from RocketLab.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why, like, when everyone always gets so reactive about certain companies failing, like I take a longer term approach. It's like I actually wouldn't mind seeing some more companies that make it easier for things to go to space, the bigger the total addressable market. And eventually I fully believe that RocketLab will be the largest beneficiary of that. So
nice. Cool. Well, that was it for this week for me. We have taken up everything. And
just real quick, Vince, before we sign off,
yeah,
we're talking about like whether it's RocketLab or whoever ends up being RocketLab. One of RocketLab's customers, Astroforge, they're going to be interviewed on Space Talks. What did it say here? July 7th. They'll be interviewing them. So in a brief summary, what Astroforge do is they develop spacecraft and technology to mine asteroids for platinum group metals and other valuable minerals with the goal of refining and returning them to Earth more sustainably than terrestrial mining. They are a RocketLab customer. They're, correct me, Francisco, but they do star trackers and reaction wheels for sure, possibly more as well. Actually, that 5 NMS wheel, that was a bit of a mystery, the kind of successor to the 12 NMS wheel, that ended up being Astroforge. So that's going to be a really interesting interview for the real kind of sci-fi space nerds out there, because it's one thing for, like, GPS and proven technologies, but actually, like, hunting asteroids. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So that'll be an interesting interview. Again, that's July 7th. I think that'll be on a Tuesday, if not mistaken. But either way, mark your calendars. It's going to be a good one.
Awesome. Thank you for the announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'll mention in that last RocketLab launch video, how cool was it to see Chris Thayer, the motive guy, on there wearing a RocketLab polo?
That was pretty cool.
But did you know him from before?
No. Well, I've always followed the Mars project. I don't think I knew down to a name. I had heard about the team and their work on the different rovers and their robotic arms, but I don't think I ever got as granular until RocketLab actually acquired them. So it's been super exciting. They're right in my backyard in Pasadena, so it's very cool.
Nice. Yeah, for me it was like how they even made of it. I was like, did they knew it was coming and then they like started shooting? Like when they had Sir Peter back answer the phone, I thought that was like epic. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for being here this week. We are weathering the storm. We were once millionaires, and I believe we will be again soon. And then we can buy Porsches and Lambos, right? So one Lambo, exactly. So thank you everyone. May your stock stay green. No, sky stay blue and stock stay green. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
thanks for hosting.